Greetings. My name is Doug King. I'm one of the pastors here at Tedrow Mennonite Church, and I'm standing here in the sanctuary, a place I haven't been for quite some time and where we have not gathered for worship since the middle of March. Well, I'm here to give an exciting message. That is that the leadership team here at Tedrow has agreed to resume public worship in the church building on Sunday, May 31st. Now, as with many other public gathering protocols due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our worship gatherings are going to look very different. Based on the recommendations from public health officials, a questionnaire that was provided by Ohio Mennonite Conference, a survey of the leadership team here at Tedrow, and more importantly, because we as Christians are called to be different and express love for one another, the leadership team is offering the following recommendations for our public gatherings through the month of June. Now, we acknowledge that this is not going to be a perfect plan, nor is it one that everyone will agree on, but it was created after prayerful consideration and the spirit of love that Christ has shown to each one of us. So we'll begin our worship on May 31st here in the sanctuary, and we have a new time that we will gather. We will gather at 10 o'clock in the morning. Services will be held with a worship-only strategy. There will be no Sunday school after worship, and we're asking that all who enter the church wear a mask at all times, except when you're seated in the sanctuary. We will practice social distancing in the sanctuary. Every other bench, including the front benches, will be roped off. And we ask that everyone practice social distancing before and after worship, including a conversation in the parking lot. We will continue to use greeters while practicing social distancing. The door will be propped open when the weather permits. Otherwise, the greeter will hold the door open and offer a verbal welcome. There will be no handshaking. One of the major things that will be different about our worship is there will be no congregational singing and no children's time through the month of June. Now, while this may be disappointing for many of us, again, we want to exercise caution as we begin this reopening process. People will be asked to offer prayers and praises through email ahead of time, although an usher will have the microphone to repeat any spoken items offered before prayer time. We won't be passing the microphone around. There will be no cookie or coffee time. The finance committee will be asked to place a secure box at the back of the church in place of passing the offering plates. We will attempt to continue online services with existing equipment. This will be done with a fixed camera showing the front of the church and none of the congregants. Sharing time will not be broadcast. We have asked the trustees to devise a working plan with the janitorial staff to clean, sanitize, and sterilize the church using CDC guidelines. The leadership team will be advised of that plan and will assist in any way that is needed. Leadership team and the ushers will encourage social distancing if needed. A few other recommendations. We're not going to do communion or foot and hand washing in the month of June, but we are going to recommend that as we do that in the future, that we use individualized cups and wafers. Unfortunately, we're not going to have Vacation Bible School this summer. We're also recommending no other special events be held at the church through the summer, except for a wedding previously approved for July 17th and 18th. Now, with that being said, we will not be using the building for worship services on July 19th. Other worship arrangements will be made for that weekend. The library will remain closed through the month of June. Care groups. Care groups we're encouraging you to meet, along with MYF and JYF. You should do that continuing the use of technology, or if you meet in person, that you meet off the church grounds and you practice social distancing. All of you and all that attend Tedrow Mennonite Church are encouraged to talk to leadership with recommendations, with needs, with concerns during this time of reopening. These guidelines will be revisited at the June 14th Elders Meeting for continuation into the summer. Now, it's important. Anyone who has been ill, anybody who's been sick the previous week or has a fever should stay home. Those who feel like they're at risk because of age, health concerns, or of any other reason should continue to use technology or to come to worship and use the separate round tables and chairs that will be set up in the fellowship hall with video and audio available as an alternative to being here in the sanctuary. See, taking these actions is an act of love for all who will enter and gather here for worship at Tedrow Mennonite. Though the hope is that later this summer and fall, we can return to some semblance of normal in our corporate worship, including Sunday school and our other gatherings. Let's remember that God is still at work. Even though we have not been able to meet and our gatherings will look very different, we are the body of Christ. Our faith, our mission, our fellowship, our love for one another, and our relationship with Jesus Christ continues. We appreciate your flexibility as we begin this process of reopening worship at Tedrow Mennonite Church. Thank you and blessings.